What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Dorian Show. I am your host, Dorian Trong. Thank you guys for coming here and tuning in for another week of hearing me give bad financial advice and also talking about how I'm just failing in life in general with comedy, with my martial arts stuff, with my love life, blah, 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 blah. As you can see, the last couple weeks I've changed where I'm shooting these podcasts. If you're watching this on YouTube, this setup is just easier and it might even look better. I don't know. The lighting might not be all there, but whatever, man. I am lazy. So I hope you guys are ready for today's episode. But before I get there, I just want to thank all the listeners out there, no matter where you are listening or watching this, either on YouTube. Please subscribe. 80% of you guys that watch this don't subscribe to me. What's up with that? And 100% of you guys don't leave me a like. So please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Ask me questions, comments, feedback, whatever. I love it. I want it all. And also, I just want to shout out to the people listening to this in the podcast apps. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Pod, Pocket Casts, etc., etc. I don't know where you guys are listening to this. Maybe on your drive to work. Maybe when you're cleaning your home. I don't know. Welcome to the show. So I got an exciting one today. Today I want to talk about buying versus renting a home and which is the better choice. So get ready and buckle up for all you finance freaks out there. You're going to like this one. For everyone else, stick with me. I'm probably going to talk a little bit about something else afterwards. Maybe I'll talk about DMing a girl from my past and how it blew up in my face. Okay? Does that sound good to you? Sounds good to me. All right. So today I want to talk about renting versus buying a home because I think there's a misconception out there. People think that buying is always better, and I have to disagree. In fact, I think maybe renting is probably the best idea most of the time. And I'm saying this because I have experience, personal experience. I've both rented and bought and sold a home. So I think I'm pretty much an expert on this field. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I could tell you what I learned from experience, and you guys could decide on your own. Not financial advice, unless you want to stay poor. Not financial advice. Which is funny because I'm pretty sure last episode or a couple episodes ago, I'm just telling you guys how I'm just getting massacred in the stock market. But today's another week. We're going to forget all about that. I'm highly successful. I'm rich, but I don't own anything. This is where I live. It's just bare. That's my life now. All right, let's just get into this. So let's start with the pros of renting instead of buying. So what are the top ones? I think if your monthly rent will be lower than your mortgage payments, and that's including with tax and other fees that go into owning a home. If that monthly payment of renting is lower, then it's almost always better to rent. Almost always better to rent. And that's because the money that you're spending on paying for your home could be going to somewhere else, right? So let's say if you were to rent, you're going to pay $1,000 in rent to your landlord, your scummy landlord. Or you could be paying $1,500 to the bank for your mortgage, taxes, etc. If you get a condo, HOA fees. That extra $500 could be potentially used somewhere else in your life that you might need, you know what I mean? Like you could be living a better quality of life if you could use that $500 to, I don't know, get a new car that you really need, or fix your car, or even put that money into investments. So number one, I think that's a good way to stay renting, is if the price of the rent is way lower than what you would be paying on your mortgage. It should be a no-brainer. Okay. And like I said, I'm going to tell you about my personal experience a little later on. I just want to get through this. I think it will flow better this way, as I am just not talking about what I'm supposed to be talking right now. Anyway, the second thing I want to say about renting is, if you're renting and you're living in a good neighborhood, that is always almost better than buying a home in a shitty ass neighborhood, which is actually what I did. It's so much of it is how it makes you feel, right? So you own something, but like it's in a bad neighborhood, you're not going to be happy. I don't think you're going to be happier than renting in a nice neighborhood, honestly. Woo! Man, I swear I only cough and sneeze when I'm doing the podcast. Outside of this, I'm super healthy, no breathing problems, nothing, no disease, nothing at all. Let's take a sip of that Diet Coke. The third thing I want to talk about is the down payment of the home. So traditionally, most people, not most people, I don't know. A lot of people would opt to put in 20% down when they're buying a home, which could be a huge chunk of change. And I don't know where you're living in the United States. By the way, this is for people in the US. I don't know how real estate works in Europe or Canada. For all I know, they just give out free houses out there. I don't know. I'm America, baby. I live in America. The US of A. Anyway, in the US, I'm pretty sure if you're not putting a 20% down, most of the time your mortgage would be so high if you're putting like no percent or 2% down compared to your rent. So yeah, could you afford a 20% down? Even if you can, let's say you're buying a house that's like, let's say in California, LA, I don't even, a cheap ass house is like $500,000, right? And let's say that's 20% of that is what? That's $100,000. So even if you have $100,000, do you want to lock that up into a house, or do you want to take that money and invest in the stock market? And I noticed that I was losing money in the stock market probably just last week, but I'm saying in general, over time, the stock market goes up about 8% a year. And if you live in California, maybe housing prices are going up like crazy, which they have in the last couple of years, but that's almost never certain, you know what I mean? And you can't sell the house if you're living there. So I don't know. Would you rather stick that $100,000 into a house that you won't realize the gains until you sell, or you could put that into the stock market and see the value of your portfolio grow? You know what I mean? Like, you have to think about the initial cost of even getting a house. Like a 20% down payment is a lot. All right. You know, people think that buying a house is all easy and fun, but there's a lot of cost in owning a house also. Like you're basically in charge and responsible of everything in that house. Or even the condo, like you have to pay for everything. Like when I first bought my place, the toilets and the vanities were so old and so gross, I had to like pull those out, go buy new vanities, buy new toilets. I had to hire somebody. I want to recess lighting. I had to hire somebody to put these lights in, blah, blah, blah. Just all money that's coming out of my pocket, man. Just so I could like feel a little bit more comfortable in my house. And I wasn't even completely done with it. Like there was just so many things I wanted to fix, but I was just lazy and I didn't want to spend the money. You know what I mean? I think like pretty soon after I moved in, there was like plumbing issues, and that was like another, I don't know, it was like $600, $800 that I had to pay out of pocket. It's just not ideal. And all this stuff I wouldn't have to worry about if I was renting a house. Obviously, I wouldn't be remodeling, so I wouldn't be getting new vanities and new toilets. But part of the landlord's job is to make sure everything's working in order and not broken and stuff, you know. Like I wouldn't have to pay for a plumber. He would just do that. I wouldn't have to pay for electrician if there was like electrical issues. Like they would pay for it. There's just so much to owning a house. Like there's so much stuff that you have to worry about. that you won't have to if you were renting, you know? It's just, I'm not saying buying is bad. I'm just saying there's a lot of pros in renting. And when you decide to sell a home, it's a lot of money to sell a home, you know? But you have to hire an agent. If you don't know this, I think most people do, but if you're selling a house, you're in charge of paying the commission of both the homeowner, the selling agent and the buyer's agent. And that percentage ranges between 4.5% and 6% off the selling price, which could be thousands and thousands of dollars, which is an insane amount of money to pay someone to like open doors and help people sign contract. It's almost a scam. I hate to say it. My agent was really nice. I like him. I know people that are real estate agents. I have family that are in real estate, that are real estate agent, but like, jeez, dude, that job is a scam, dude. Like, you don't think I could just go and look out a house by myself without you being there? You know what I mean? You don't think I know how to sign contracts? It's not like they're lawyers. They just send you stuff to sign. They can't really go over and tell you too much about it because they can't advise you and stuff because they're not an attorney. It's just really expensive to sell a home. And if you're selling a home, you always need to negotiate the commission. With Zillow and Redfin now, like, there's no reason why you should be selling your house and giving them a 6% commission. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, I sold my place and I gave them 4.5%, and I was just like, that was still like $15,000 commission. My place is not even $500,000. That's how expensive it is to sell a home. You just pay people to sell your house. It's ridiculous. And then finally, I think a lot of people, when they can't afford a home, and I was in this camp too. When I couldn't afford a home, I was like, oh, I'll just buy a starter home. You know what I mean? Like, a starter home is somewhere like you already know before you even get there that it's not going to be permanent. And I don't know what people's ideas of what a starter home is. You know, some people think, oh, I'll just live here a couple years and then I'll rent it out, or I'll live here a couple years and then I'll sell it, right? And yeah, you could do that, but like, I think you fall into a trap for settling for something that you don't like. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, because it's a starter home, I could live here. It's a starter home, I could live in the hood. You know, I could live in like a place that isn't too ideal for me because it is not forever. But when you do that, you put yourself in like, I don't know, like a happiness deficit. Because I can tell you, I was happier renting in a nicer area than when I bought my place and living in the hood. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh yeah, I could do all these things with it in the future, but really, like, yeah, I just decided to sell it, which was one of the options, I guess. But you know, it could have gone really badly for me. You know what I mean? If it was not a seller's market, I could be losing a lot of money, which I didn't. Thank God. And then next, I want to talk. So what did I go over? The pros of renting. So basically, the cons of buying. If rent's lower, you should probably rent. You know what I mean? If you're renting in a good neighborhood, and if you buy something you have to like downgrade in the neighborhood, you should probably keep renting, unless your monthly payments go way down. Then maybe you should move. You know what I mean? It's all comes down to the finances. You know, even though people say housing appreciates. That's not guaranteed, but nothing is, right? Neither are stocks, but housing is like the most illiquid stuff. Like, it's really hard to pull money out of a house, unless you sell it. It takes a long time to sell it. All right. So, are there any pros for buying a home? Yeah, there are, but you have to weigh them out for yourself. One of the biggest pros of buying a house is having a fixed mortgage for 30 years. You know what I mean? So if you're renting and you have like a greedy landlord, like all the landlords in the world, exactly 100% of all landlords are greedy and are terrible people, except for your parents or family members or friends that you might know who are just trying to make a living. Everybody else are scumbags. Anyway, if you're renting, more than likely your rent's going to go up every single year. I, for some reason, got lucky. So I was renting this place by the beach before I bought my place. I stayed there for like maybe 5 years. The first 3 years, the guy did not raise the rent at all. And that was because I was renting directly with the owner. And as soon after that, he got into a property management company. And I knew right away these fools are going to be jacking up rent every single year. And sure enough, they did, which had me consider and ultimately deciding to buy a condo, which I don't think it's a good idea, even though at the end I came out on top with some money. Looking back, without knowing how much money I would have made selling the condo, like I should have just stayed renting there for maybe a couple more years. But hindsight is 2020, right? Is that what they say? So one of the good things is your mortgage rates will be stable for like 30 years. And that's only if you want to stay there for that long, you know what I mean? If you see this as a starter home, like then it doesn't really matter. If you're not even planning to live there long term anyways, then all of a sudden the fixed mortgage rate for 30 years don't sound as appealing. But if you're able to buy a home that you can see yourself living there forever, you know what I mean? Or at least even like 10 plus years, then all of a sudden that mortgage rate, that fixed mortgage rate becomes more appealing. You know what I mean? So yeah, your mortgage rates are fixed, so that's a pro. If you have a family, that's another thing. As a single guy, for me, like I don't really need too much stability. Like if I don't have a lot of things in general, for people who know me, just on a tangent, like I moved into my condo for like 2 years and I had zero furniture. I literally had zero furniture. I had a bed, I had a futon, and then I had like a small desk. That's all I had. You know what I mean? Like people would come over to my house, my condo, I mean, and they're like, "Hey, did you just move in?" And I'm like, "Nah, I've been here for like 2 years." Anyway, so I'm just saying I don't need that much stability, meaning like I'm ready to pick up and move at a moment's notice. And yeah, I don't have a family. I don't have kids. I don't have a wife. I don't have anyone I need to worry about if I need to uproot and leave the city, the state, the country. So renting for me would be ideal. But I understand if you're married and you got little kids and, you want to get them into a good school. So yeah, maybe buying in a good neighborhood by their school where it's stable, where you know you won't have to move. So you won't have to change their schools or move the family around. Then yeah, that's a good positive for owning a home. Stability is very important. And that's again with the forever home. I feel like if you're thinking about buying a home, like it should be seen as a forever home. Unless for some reason rent's way higher than a mortgage, then you should just buy it out of financial reasons. But if you're going to buy something, it should be a forever home. You know, something that you wouldn't mind staying for a long time. So a lot of these negatives, like you wouldn't bother you as much as in like paying and fixing up the house. But you wouldn't mind it instead of seeing it as such a burden, which I did when I bought my place. I saw it as a huge burden on me. Another thing in California, at least, is if you live in your home as your primary residence for 2 years, when you sell that home, you get all that money tax free up to a certain point. I forget what it was. I don't know if you make under $250,000 in profit, you get to keep all that tax free. I think that's what it is, $250,000, which is a lot. You know what I mean? There's really no reason for my place to appreciate that much where I could just pocket $250,000. But that's another benefit for a home buyer, is that when you sell, you get to keep a lot of the stuff tax free, your profit. Yeah, that's good. And then there's also like tax deductions. If you're a homeowner, you get a deduction on your interest payments, or if you're renting out your home, you get to write off. I can't think. Depreciation on the home. But honestly, unless you have the value of your home is really high, then the money you're getting back is like pennies to the dollars. It shouldn't really be too big of a plus. Like I got like maybe $3,000-$4,000 back on my tax returns, but I was like paying like an insane amount, like I don't know, like $20,000-$30,000 in mortgage. I just made that up. Let me check real quick. Yeah, I pay like $20,000 in mortgage and everything, and then you get back like $4,000. It's really not that exciting. Yeah, I think those are really positive. Well, the other positive for owning a home is being able to pull money out of it, which I did. And this is probably a really big one, and not financial advice, but if you own a house and you're not pulling equity from it, you're leaving money on the table, especially because interest rates are so low right now. I think typically if you pull a home equity loan, it's probably the lowest loan you could actually get. And some banks even give out personal loans that are not tied to your house that will give you a lower interest rate because they think you're a lower risk, which is what I did, which is probably the best thing to ever come out of me owning this house. That's the only good thing about it, is I bought this house and I got a personal loan for like 3%, I want to say. And I immediately sold my house, but I was able to keep the loan. And I took that money and I invested, like I said, you guys already know, in Celsius. That's giving me right now 10% interest rate on my money. You know what I mean? So I'm borrowing at 3% and I'm lending out at 10%. You guys could do the math. I'm making 7% on free money. Free money. And that's actually, this is making buying a home a lot better, actually. Being able to take equity out of a house is great, especially if you have more than 20% down on your home. Being able to get a line of credit or even borrow against it so you could take the money out and invest somewhere else. That's actually a really good reason to buy a house. But I also know that, you know, is it worth it if it's at the cost of like living in a worse neighborhood, a shittier house, you know, something you really got to think about. All right. So I don't know if that was helpful for you guys. If anybody here is thinking about buying a house, I have a bunch of my friends have been buying homes. I mean, I bought a house within the last 2 years, so it's kind of like the thing people were doing in my my age range, I guess, the 30s, where you feel like you have to buy a house or you're a loser. That's the age I'm in now. And it seems like a lot of people in my age, I kind of like made the same mistakes. I feel like me and the friends that I know, we all bought condos around the same times, and their condos are like way nicer than mine. And then we all ended up selling it. You know what I mean? It's just, I think condos in general are probably a bad idea in general. But guess what? I can't afford anything else. I can't afford a house in a decent neighborhood. So that's all I had. So it was probably better it's probably better if I rented back then. Anyway, just to give you guys my experience, just so you know where I was coming from. So I recently sold my condo, but before that, I was renting out in Long Beach, in a really good neighborhood, by the way, 3 blocks from the beach. Okay, I live in a 1-bed, 1-bath apartment, 3 blocks from the beach. Had great neighbors. They were all old, man. I'm telling you, dude, this community is like, they're like, youngest person there was probably like 40, and he was single, so he didn't have family or anything. And then there were people in their 50s, and there's a bunch of people in their 60s. Just super quiet neighborhood, close to the beach, close to the bars, close to Ralph's, close to everything that I've ever dreamed of. And I was paying, the last year I was living there, I was paying $13.50 a month. And this is when they got, the landlords got a property management company, so they were going to raise the rent probably like 8% a year, I'm thinking. And just for the sake of simplicity, let's just say they'll raise the rent 10% a year. So the last year I lived there, I was paying $13.50. I knew there's going to raise my rent by like 10%. So I started looking to buy something, right? I was like, it's getting to the point where my rent's going to be almost as expensive or more expensive than owning a home. So I decided to go look for a home in Long Beach because I love Long Beach. Till this day, I love Long Beach, man. Till this day, I love Long Beach. But it's so expensive, I can't afford it. Anyway, so I found a 2-bed condo. So it's an upgrade in that sense, right? So I'm moving from a 1-bed, 1-bath to a 2-bed, 2-bath, 2 parking spots in a garage for like a really good price, right? $285,000, I think, is what I ended up paying for it. But unfortunately, there's a lot of downside to it, right? I moved like not 20 blocks, like 15 blocks up into the hood. I lived in a community where a lot of them were renters and they just didn't give shit about the property. You know what I mean? Like people just throwing shit in the stairways, like ice cream. And I just had like the worst neighbors. The ones above me and the ones below me. Like the people upstairs were just so fucking loud. Boom, 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 boom. Walking. Loud. Their dogs barking all day long. And the people downstairs were just as fucking bad. You know what I'm saying? I was sleeping one time in my master bedroom. It was like 1 a.m. and then my bed started shaking because not that I was getting any action, but because the people downstairs were playing their music so fucking loud. You know what I mean? And so then like my living situation has actually gotten worse. I got more square footage. You know what I mean? I have a balcony that I never fucking used. But I have like terrible neighbors. And the area I lived in was like in the hood, so it wasn't close to the beach. I can't walk there no more. I need to drive there. It's further away from the grocery store. Not too far. There's another grocery store close by, but it wasn't walking distance to a grocery store no more. I'm not right by the cool restaurants on a 4th Street and Broadway anymore. You know, I need to go drive to the restaurants. My monthly payments got higher. You know what I mean? I was paying $13.50 for a while, and then my new mortgage payments were $1,700, and you might think that's a little bit more, but it's actually it's a lot more. It's close to like $400. You know what I mean? And at the rate of what I was renting, $13.50, the rent would have to increase 10% 4 times. So it would have to be the 4th year before I would reach my be paying more than what I was paying my mortgage. But you know what? I got lucky. I fucking hated that place. And I was able to get a loan for like $65,000 because I had the condo at a low interest rate, 3%. And it wasn't a home equity loan, which is important for you guys to know out there. And we're back. Sorry about that. My battery died on my camera. I wonder if I could plug that in actually. And I don't even know if I can. I'm such a noob at this. Anyway, I was talking about buying a home, man. I got lucky. After 2 years, I sold it. But what made me really lucky was I was able to take out a personal loan at a bank that you guys should really look at. All right, if you're living in a forever home, you guys could get a home equity loan. It's a low percentage. Or there are certain banks out there that will give you a low personal loan. A low interest personal loan if you own a home, which is what I did. And I already knew I was going to sell, so that was the best. I got a loan for $65,000 at 3% interest rate. And right after I got that loan, like within months, I like put my condo up for sale. And I didn't have to pay back that loan immediately. You know what I mean? It wasn't tied to my house. It was unsecured, you know. So I'm pretty sure that bank is like shaking in their boots right now. They're like, oh no, what if he doesn't give us our money back? But I'll give them back to them. You know, I'm a good guy. Anyway, like selling the home was also it was so nerve wracking. You know what I mean? I had to talk to an agent. I had to sign a contract with him. You know, I had to give him 4.5%, not him, but like between him and the buyer agent, 4.5% of my house, which is insane, dude. You know how much a home costs in California? Like hundreds of $100,000, probably $500,000. And giving them like 4.5 to 6%, that's a lot. That's like 20, 30 G's. I'm not sure. Anyway, it was, the whole process was like so nerve wracking because people need to come over, and I was like, shit, dude. I had to leave the house so they could come see it. I had to give them, let them like dig through my shit. It's just very uncomfortable, you know what I mean? I mean, this is no big deal. Obviously, they need to come and see the home. But I was like, damn. It's just rough. And then like you get fake outs, right? I got multiple offers. So I didn't sell until the third offer. You know what I mean? And let me just tell you guys what I sold the place for. I ended up selling the place for $335,000, right? So on paper I made what? $50,000. But I didn't, because I had to give 4.5%. So I ended up making like 30 grand on my house, my condo after 2 years. And you might think like 30 grand was like really good. And it is. And the only reason why I got it was because I'm lucky. That's the only reason why I got it. You know what I mean? Like the two offers I got, they would have paid me $15,000 more. So I'll potentially, instead of making $30,000, I could have made $45,000. And that's the upside. And I like wanted to get out of my place so bad that I would have sold it for lower, honestly. You know what I mean? So instead of making $30,000, I could have made like 20, 10. Maybe I could have lost money. Who knew? I just knew like my time there was done because I was just not it was just not making me happy. Like all the you know what I mean? Like it's just my quality of life actually went down during that time. So that's it. But the good part about the best thing I got out of that is getting this loan is I'm hoping it'll pay off. I basically got $65,000, 3%. I'm loaning it out for 10%. So I'm making like 7%. That's spread. Or as they say, the arbitrage is it's a really good way for me to make money without having to do anything. Unless Celsius goes bust and I lose that money and I have to repay the bank in a couple years, but let's hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, basically it. That's my like whole thesis or argument against renting and buying. I don't think I'm going to be buying anytime soon. I'm a single guy. I can't afford a house. You know what I mean? Like I can't afford a house by myself in a decent neighborhood that's quiet, that I could see myself living there forever. Like it's impossible at this time in LA, of course. But who knows? Maybe I'll get rich off of this podcast that no one listens to, or get married, have double income, and that starts to open up some doors of better homes. But in the meantime, I think I'm just gonna rent. You know what I mean? Like I'm renting right now, and this place is all right. But I'll probably move at some point. You know what I mean? And when I do, I'm going to look for places, I look for things that are important to me, you know what I mean? Like an acquired neighborhood, in a good neighborhood. And I might be willing to pay for more because I know I can't afford to buy something like that comparably. But yeah, who knows? Maybe by the time in a couple of years, the housing market will crash and I'll be ready to swoop it up. But we don't know. And I don't know. I don't know what the future is. I just think I'd rather own things that are less hassle, that are easy, more liquid. You know what I mean? I'd rather own stocks, even though they're more volatile than the housing, I guess you could say. But I could sell my position, buy positions within seconds. You know what I mean? I don't need to pay anybody any commissions or anything. I don't need to talk to anybody. It's at my own time. Whereas if I sell or buy, I need to talk to an agent. I need to go back and forth. I need to leave my house to let people see it when I sell. I need to make sure people are able to let me go see a house when I buy. It's just too much, you have to deal with. And if you buy a house, what if you have bad neighbors? You can't just walk away. If you live in a condo, that's even worse. You have to deal with bad neighbors, an HOA that may or may not be good. I just like to have more control over my situation. So I think unless I'm falling in love with a house that I can afford, like I'm just gonna be renting for a long, long time. Anyway, yeah, that's my discussion on that. I just also want to talk to you guys about sliding into the girls' DMs. I don't know how many people out there are listening have tried that before, or sliding into a guy's DMs, I guess. Yeah, I don't know if people my age have ever done that, actually. Initially I thought it was really weird when I was doing stand-up, and people were exchanging Instagrams. You know what I mean? Like as a tool to communicate with each other. And I knew you could do that with Instagram. I know you could do that with Facebook, but it just never crossed my mind because I was so old. You know what I mean? Like I was like, you want to get in touch with someone, you should get their number. You know what I mean? You should text them or call them directly. But then people are like, I guess like Facebook and Instagram are kind of like a buffer between like, it's like the step before you get someone's number. And it's weird, like I'm communicating with like these new friends I have and I don't know their numbers and I just reached them on Instagram. It's exactly the same thing, by the way. You could call people on Instagram, you could video chat, you could text them. But for some reason, to me, it just feels less personable. You know what I mean? I don't know. They're exactly the same, except it's not tied to a phone number. It's tied to someone's Instagram account. But anyway, what I was saying? Oh yeah, sliding to a girl's DMs. So trying to get into the date scene. You know what I mean? I do online dating, and that's whatever. And I know my strengths, you know what I mean? Like I do well with, I do better, and I'm not doing well. I'm not killing it out there on the streets, but I do better when I meet women in real life. You know what I mean? What I lack in looks and what I'm gonna say, when I lack in looks and personality, I make up with my height, my giant figure. You know what I mean? I'm just hoping that, he's not the best looking guy and he has a pretty terrible personality, but he's like he'll be good to have around if like the robbers trying to come and trying to kill our babies. Like he'll be good to have around. He's 200 something pounds, 6 foot. He's good protection there to get murdered as me and the kids run away for safety. I think that's what my strong points are, I think. I'm just kidding. No, I think when I talk to people and then get to know our personality, I think that's my strong point. Anyway, so I thought it would be a good idea to like slide into some ladies' DMs. And I'm not sliding into like strangers' DMs, which I guess a lot of people do. A lot of my female friends are saying strangers would just hit them up. Now that takes balls, dude. Like a cold open to someone that don't even know you and just say, yo, what's up? What's up, dude? I mean, what's up, girl? That's weird. I'm like a low-level DMer. You know what I mean? I was sliding into the DMs. It was like a safe slide. I slid into the DMs of someone I know. It's just a funny story. Like I knew this lady when we were in high school. And back then she was like super cutie. And I was in high school too at the time, so it was all right. You know what I mean? I thought she was cute in high school because I was also in high school. We were both in high school, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I saw that she lived nearby in the city I grew up in, so I just hit her up. But before I do that, because I just don't want to just creep people out unnecessarily. I do some research because I'm a nice guy. I research her social media, make sure there's no dudes there. I don't want to waste anybody's time, make them feel uncomfortable. And there was no sign at all of any dudes in her Facebook or Instagram. So I'm like, all right, let's shoot out this text. Let's shoot this DM out there. Shoot my shot through the interwebs, as they say. So I DM'd her and we talked back and forth, whatever. But then all of a sudden there's this guy that starts appearing in all her social media posts. Man, I'm getting some of those boyfriend vibes from this guy. So anyway, that was weird. And I guess I learned my lesson is to never do research and just DM everybody. Just everybody you see. Don't do research because it's a waste of time. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, I just thought that was a funny story. Like I did all this like homework and research, and it turned out it was no bueno. Anyway, that's all I have today. Comedy is going whatever. More updates on that probably in next couple episodes, you guys. Thank you guys for listening. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.